It's Scottish Cup semi-final weekend, and Brendan Rodgers done his weekly press conference with the media, and he had a lot to say about one individual.
Celtic, we are the best team in Glasgow.
What's happening, Celtic family? Hope you're all well. Look, listen, if you haven't subscribed already, or if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and help us grow this channel together. It's absolutely free to do so. Thank you very much. Happy Easter weekend to every single one of you. I hope you all have an amazing weekend, whatever you are up to. I hope you have all got the long weekend off. I know some of you won't, like me, but I've definitely got Sunday off to go down and watch Celtic play St Johnstone in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. And look, listen, it's amazing to be back in a semi-final. We want to try and get to the final, obviously, but it's great to be back in the position of being in another semi-final, because winning trophies ain't for everyone, and we all know that. But listen, it's an amazing achievement. What has happened all season? We've played some amazing football, and sometimes we've played some woeful football. I think a lot of us can admit that a lot of this season as a whole has been quite inconsistent. But we can't complain really about being inconsistent when we're on the cusp of another treble. For me, I see a lot of people going on about how great a season it's been, and some people saying that it's been just a pretty sort of, I don't know, just not the greatest season ever. And for me, it's not been the greatest season ever, but we've done what we've had to do. We've done well in the Champions League, and we've done well, pretty well domestically. As I said, we're on the cusp of another treble. So we can't complain too much, but going into the game on Sunday against St Johnstone, I think everybody's aware. I think that all the players will be aware that this might not be quite as straightforward as what we first hoped, playing the bottom of the table St Johnstone. But listen, we know what we have to do. It's going to be a difficult game if Celtic turn up the way that they did against St Johnstone only a couple of weeks back. It's going to be very, very difficult for us. And St Johnstone will do what they done against us in Perth only a couple of weeks ago. Now, give all the props to the manager, because as I said in my previous video, I watched the manager before that game, and he clearly stated what he wanted to do in that game. He wanted to hit Celtic early. He wanted to try and get that early goal and then sit in the low block and try and see it out. And that's exactly what they done, and Celtic did not have an answer for it. We just looked completely lost. We looked very leggy. We looked like a team that is getting to the end of the season, and individual performances looked like individuals were just extremely tired, didn't really want to be there. I understand it's got to that point in the season and they have to travel all the way to Perth, and I get all that. But you play for Celtic Football Club, and there's a massive expectation on you to go out there and win every single game. And I don't think it's asking too much. I know, we all know that we can't expect to win every game, but we do expect to win every game because they are Celtic Football Club. We are without a doubt the most formidable team in the country, in this league. We are the best team in this league, especially when we are firing on all cylinders. And talking about firing on all cylinders, if we fire on all cylinders on Sunday, this will be a walkover. Just like every other team that there is in the Scottish Premier League, if Celtic play to the levels that we know that Celtic can play to, they will walk over any team in the Scottish Premiership. They are that good. We proved that against Kilmarnock last week, when Kilmarnock couldn't even get anywhere near us. Not for the simple fact that Kilmarnock are just not that great a team, although I do know they're not having the best season, but there was just absolutely no chance that they were getting anywhere near us, just because how good Celtic played. They did not give them a chance to get on the ball, even in the second half. And I know the second half, a lot of people saying there's a bit of a dip in the second half, but that's to be expected when you're winning by 4 goals. That is going to be expected. But in the second half performance, we were very good, very professional performance, and I expect more of the same against St Johnstone in the semi-final on Sunday. I expect Celtic to come out the traps, really go for it, really press high, and really try and put this game to bed early in the first half. Try and win this by the first half, because we know fine well that St Johnstone can pose a threat. We know that St Johnstone are fighting for relegation when we played against them in Perth a couple of weekends ago, and they looked like a team that was fighting for relegation. Now, the reason I say they're fighting for relegation, because that really does play a part in this game. Because if they do get relegated, what else have they got to play for? They haven't got anything to play for. They are fighting for survival in the league to stay in the top tier of football, and they're not going to win any trophies, and the only trophy that they've got a slight chance in winning is the Scottish Cup. So I don't doubt for 1 minute, and I'm not sleeping at all on St Johnstone, and I'm really not after watching that performance in Perth, because I thought St Johnstone, although Celtic were terrible, I thought St Johnstone were really quite good. I thought they obviously listened to the manager. The manager made it very, very clear, even publicly, what their plan was to do, and they went out and they absolutely utilised the game plan, and Celtic just did not have an answer for it. As I said, if Celtic come out on Sunday and they play to the levels that we know that Celtic can play to, it is going to be extremely difficult for St Johnstone to even get anywhere near the ball. They are just not good enough to compete with Celtic when Celtic are playing at that level. But we know how Celtic have been throughout the whole season. As I said at the start of this video, Celtic at times, a lot of times through this season, have been pretty inconsistent. 1 minute they're playing some amazing football, like take Kilmarnock last weekend, playing some amazing football to then go into the next week and they're just a shadow of themselves from the previous week. So everything depends. It's something that I've said on here so many times. So everything depends on what Celtic team turns up, and if the Celtic team turns up against St Johnstone that turned up in Perth, I think it's going to be a difficult one. But let's take a look at my personal starting 11. Starting in goals has to be Sinisalo. I know Brendan Rodgers said in his press conference today that Kasper Schmeichel is back out training. I don't believe that he hasn't been out training. I think he's been training all the way through. I think he's been doing a lot of stuff with his feet, which is great. It keeps him active. But I think he's probably back to almost sort of full training. But again, he will not be ready for this game. So definitely we're going for Sinisalo in goals. On the right-hand side, we are going for Alistair Johnston. He's been playing some amazing football, and for me, sometimes just not really on it. But as I said, the whole team at times has been inconsistent. But he is a player that I hope that Celtic can really keep a hold of for the long term. I honestly think that guy is an amazing addition to Celtic since he came in. He is absolutely solid. He is so good at breaking the lines when he has to. And yeah, I'm going for Alistair Johnston out on the right. In the middle two, I am going to go for Cameron Carter-Vickers as always, and Liam Scales. I don't think that he will put Austin Trusty back in there just because of the last game that he played for Celtic. It just he wasn't really at it. And then seeing Liam Scales last week against Kilmarnock, I believe he played well enough to keep that position. So I'll go with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales in the middle, and I will go for Greg Taylor out on the left for the simple fact, as the same as Liam Scales, his performance against Kilmarnock last week definitely for me cemented his place in the starting 11 for the semi-final against St Johnstone. We will get on to what Brendan Rodgers said in the press conference about Greg Taylor, but a lot of what he says I do agree with. And I think that Greg Taylor has got a lot of thinking to do. I don't know if Greg Taylor is definitely gone. I thought he was. I'm not sure. But listen, we'll talk about that soon. So let's go into the middle of the park. I'm going to go with Cal McGregor, Rio Otati and Arne Engels. I don't think that you can really argue with that three in the middle. I think they've been playing some amazing football. It is so evident when Cal McGregor is not there, even when you take the way that the other two played against Kilmarnock. When Cal McGregor's there, he gives Rio Otati and Arne Engels so much freedom for them to go, play their football and express themselves, and knowing that Cal McGregor is sitting in just behind them, ready to mop up anything. And it's a great sort of trio that we've got in the middle of the park there. As I said, I've been quite critical of Rio Otati this season because he has been so inconsistent. But when he turns it on like he did against Kilmarnock, we all know exactly what he brings to the team. He is an absolutely phenomenal player. And I've never said that he hasn't been. The way that guy turns players, finds himself in space, exactly like Cal McGregor, can hit a ball, can score a goal, can assist many. The guy is absolutely unbelievable. But I still believe, again, this is just my personal opinion, because of his inconsistencies this year, not to say that he wouldn't go on to next year and be consistent all the way through and really show the Rio Otati that we all know. But I think that for Celtic, because he is still being talked about by other clubs, I think for me, this is that I think we should cash in on him this summer. I know a lot of you will disagree with that because he is such a good player, and I absolutely agree. I do agree with you. I think he's a fantastic player, so then you're probably thinking, well, why would you want to get rid of him? I just think that Rio Otati, if he doesn't go this season, he'll probably go the next season. And I know that we'll get another season out of him, but I just think that I'm not sure if he wants to be at the club. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think that he's not completely happy, but I think that maybe he wants to go and sort of spread his wings and go and play in a better league, as people would say. And I think that Celtic could make quite a bit of money from him in the summer transfer window. So for me, not that I really want him to go, but I think that it would be good for him and it would be good for Celtic. Anyway, in the top line, the three up front, I'm going to go for Dies and Maeda out on the left, Ida through the middle, and I'm going to go for James Forrest on the right. Again, for James Forrest, because he played so well against Kilmarnock, I thought James does what he normally does. He can cut in the inside, he can hit the byline. I am a massive fan of James Forrest, so I'm probably just being a bit biased, and I know a lot of people say, no, let's play Kuhn, or we can't play Yang because Yang's not back yet, but let's go with Kuhn. For me, I think Kuhn would be great to take off the bench, and I think when it gets to that 60-minute mark, we should maybe take James Forrest off and put Kuhn on. But for me, again, against Kilmarnock, I thought James Forrest was brilliant, and we all know what James Forrest can do in these kind of fixtures, semi-finals and finals at Hampden. The amount of times that James Forrest has popped up, scored us a goal, had his part in plenty of assists, really does create, really drives at the defence, really causes the defence a lot of trouble. So I think James Forrest, for me, has to play on the right, again with Adam Ida through the middle, and I know Adam Ida causes a lot of mixed emotions within the Celtic support because we all want Adam Ida to do so well, and sometimes he gives us glimmers of absolute brilliance, and sometimes he can just go wanting the whole game and you don't see much from him. But I do believe that there is a good player in there in Adam Ida. I do believe this would be a good game for him. this would be a game for him where he could hold the ball up really well. I do believe he is that kind of Giakoumakis way where he can hold the ball up. But I also believe that he's got goals in him. And I also believe that this is the type of game where he can really go out there and flourish. I really do believe that. So I'm going to go for him in there. And obviously, Dyson Maeda out on the left. Not much to say about Dyson at this point. I don't think there's much for anybody to say. The guy is an absolute beast. Absolute brilliant. So that is my starting 11. Let me know what you think about it. If you agree, if you disagree, in the comment section. Just before I let you go on your way, let's talk about Brendan Rodgers at the press conference that happened yesterday. And a lot of it seemed to be sort of focused on what Greg Taylor is going to be doing. And I don't suppose that we've got any updates on it. Brendan Rodgers is in the dark as much as anybody else, but he does believe that Greg Taylor is a fantastic player and that there is plenty of room for Greg Taylor at Celtic. And I agree. I agree with that. I do believe that there is plenty of room for Greg Taylor, even with Kieran Tierney coming back. I believe that Kieran, we all know that he needs to be babied in the way of that. We all know that he's kind of injury prone. So I do believe that Greg Taylor could play a lot of football for Celtic. It's just whether Greg Taylor actually believes that or not. And I completely understand when you've got someone like Kieran Tierney who is absolutely adored at Celtic, and we all know how good a footballer he is, and Greg Taylor knows exactly how adored that Kieran Tierney is at Celtic, and he knows how good a footballer he is. So he may be thinking, I'm just not going to get the football, the amount of football that I really, really want to play. I don't know if that is seriously going to be the case. I think that we've seen Kieran Tierney play out on the wing. So there's nothing to say at times that the two of them couldn't be on the same pitch at the same time. But I think ultimately a lot of it comes down to Greg Taylor. A lot of it comes down to, obviously, financially. Is he going to get the money that he feels like he deserves? And is he going to get the amount of game time? Because listen, Greg Taylor's still a young guy. He still wants to play football. And that I completely understand. So he's got to make the decision for himself whether he thinks that he's going to play enough football and he's going to get the wages that he thinks that he deserves. But for me personally, I'd like to see Greg Taylor stay at the club. I really, really would. But ultimately, if he doesn't want to be there, because he maybe feels like he's not going to play enough football, then I absolutely get it. I absolutely get it. And if he doesn't stay, then obviously we know we've got Kieran Tierney coming back. But I would like him to stay. But again, if he doesn't stay, I wish the guy nothing but the best. And the thing is, he looks like a guy that's, it doesn't matter whether he's thinking about leaving. You take his performance against Kilmarnock, that looks like a guy that's more than happy to stay. The way that he played against Kilmarnock at the weekend. And I do believe that when he starts, or if he plays, if I'm right in what he's saying, then he will play against St Johnstone. That will never take that away from the guy. Is an ultimate professional. And I genuinely believe he does enjoy playing for Celtic. He does enjoy being around the fans, because listen, Greg Taylor has been an absolute brilliant servant to this club. He really, really has been. He's been here a good amount of time now, and he's been an absolutely amazing servant. And I think he does feel that. I know fine well that he splits opinion. But listen, we're all supporters, and we're all entitled to have an opinion, and I know that he will understand that. But I would say the majority of Celtic supporters do appreciate him and do understand how well he's actually played for Celtic. So listen, whatever happens, I guess it's on him. Brendan Rodgers has said as much that he wants him at the club, and it's up to him. So only time will tell with that one. But listen, guys, as I said, have an amazing Easter weekend, whatever you guys are up to. I hope to see you if you're going to the game at Hampden. I hope I'll see you there. But listen, thank you very much, guys, for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, thank you very much for wasting your time. Stay safe out there, Celtic family. I will catch you at some point after the game. It might be on the Sunday, it might be the Monday, it might even be the Tuesday. I don't know. I am busy at work. But I will definitely try and do a video as and when I can. Again, stay safe out there, Celtic family. Hail, hail. Take it easy.